So welcome back to this afternoon's session. I hope that you found this morning very helpful. And certainly the workshops and the speakers this morning, I think, were hugely stimulating and really helping us to understand some of the sort of language and the new work around trauma-informed approaches. Yesterday I shared a little bit with you about what really inspired me, and sort of overnight I've tried to reflect a little bit on what we've heard yesterday and what I think we're going to be tackling and discussing today. So I wanted to share a little bit around labels, if that's okay with everybody. When we consider labels, I think it's kind of often that we think that the label is going to provide us with factual information, that it's going to have information about the product, what it's called, and it might even have some safety information on it, like not for under 3-year-olds. But when we, in the criminal justice system, apply labels, we often apply the labels with limited factual information. We often miss a lot of that information. The names we use, the language we use, is often unhelpful. Are they an offender? Are they the suspect? Are they a victim? Are they child sexual exploitation? Is it a gang? Are they a child or a young person? And often the safety advice that we use is often about the risk posed by that individual or the risk that they pose to themselves. The difference with products that you buy in the supermarkets are that they benefit from a degree of marketing and often manipulation. So the product doesn't really do what it says. I am really keen about that. My 6-year-old buys lots of toys that doesn't actually do anything that the television tells that it does. However, our young people in the criminal justice system, they do not benefit from these things. In fact, they suffer from real poor language, negativity, and the labels that we place on them and others place on them and the cumulative judgments that follow really do not help around the positivity that we need to have and young people need to feel in society generally. We heard yesterday from Nazir about the CSE cases, and really that highlighted quite clearly certain behaviours that are judged, and those judgments lead agencies to take actions that are based on those judgments. How often have we heard that X got stabbed, oh, don't worry, he's in a gang, minimising and giving rationale for that behaviour and why that young person was in that situation? Do we think that if I described that young person differently, that we would have a different response? And how does gender play out in those situations? I did say yesterday, and I will conclude again today, that language is so important. The way in which we market our young people positively has to help the way we change the perceptions of young people, and how we constantly reflect on our own judgments is essential. So this afternoon, I'm very pleased to start with our interview with Harley Hegarty. She is our youth participation lead for the day 2, and she works as a youth engagement officer in Positive Steps at Oldham. So welcome, Harley. So first of all, could you tell us what you're most proud of to date?
Work-wise, it's obviously being able to see a physical change. Obviously, I had my own opinions from my own experiences of the service and how it needed to be changed. But then it's now looking back, you can actually see how much it has changed.
Yeah.
Like, we actually held a focus group for young people of how to design our centre where they visit. They actually designed everything down to the chairs, the colour of the walls. So now when you walk in, you can physically see that that's what they've actually decided, and it's happening. It's there in black and white.
That's great. In terms of your own reflection of your personal situation, what would you say worked or didn't work in terms of the criminal justice system?
I think the main thing, well, for me and my parents, was just a lack of understanding. We didn't understand the system, we didn't know the processes, the language that we used. Right. You know, there were words like, we didn't even know what the criminal justice system meant. You know, obviously when we went to panel, we had, you know, the full panel there and the report. I'm reading back on the report thinking I don't understand what I've got to do, right, or anything, you know, what we have to do. So one of the big pieces of work what we've done at Oldham is actually speaking to young people after the panel, right, and do you understand what's actually going on? Do you understand the process? Because I literally didn't understand anything.
Right.
What was going on.
That's a shame, isn't it? Do you think things have changed since?
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, like I said, with break it down now, so it's a lot more young person friendly.
Great. That's brilliant. So in terms of your experience and your perception in the work you're doing, do you think there's differential treatment for females in the system?
Yeah. I can remember when I used to obviously go to my appointments, I can remember being in a group with about 8 lads, I was the only girl, doing woodwork, thinking, why on earth, and they was all enjoying it, and I felt uncomfortable in a group of all these young lads. Intervention-wise, they were nothing. Obviously females, they offend for different reasons to males. It's it's looking more beyond the actual offence into why they've done it.
Yeah. Okay. So, for you, what was the kind of moment that changed things?
Being in court. Because with me, it was a massive influence of my peers. Like my mum and dad, they didn't have no say in what I'd done. It was literally all about my friends. I didn't care. But then when I was actually in court, I seen my mum and dad physically crying, and I thought, I can't carry on doing this anymore. I need to kind of pull myself away from my peers and kind of do what I want to do and have a future for myself, really.
Great. So tell me about that future. What do you currently do at the moment? How are you shaping the world of criminal justice?
Well, a lot of it is shaped off my experiences, where I found gaps in the service. For example, women, there was no interventions at all for women. So we looked at that. We've created interventions for women across Greater Manchester now. We all meet regularly. We're in the process of creating a catalogue of resources to look at to work with women. And we hold an annual event, Empowering Young Women, where we all get together. We invite the females down. We have loads of stalls that tackles issues they face, sexual health, self-esteem. It's just all about them. And I think the main thing, what we're shaping at Oldham, is the participation-led, the service user involvement, through focus groups, breach decision meetings. I'm like an independent body. So before we go into, they're on the panel for breach, I'll kind of be their advocate. I'll ask them, is there anything they want me to put across for them? Is there anything they don't understand? And kind of that peer-led service user intervention.
Great. And the feedback from the young people on that?
Brilliant. Well, they all like working with me, so.
That's good. Brilliant. I think they would. In terms of you, Harley, in 5 years, 10 years' time, what's your future plans?
Obviously, I love what I do. I love all the, the service user participation-led thing, I love the work with women. I just think I'd like to see it spread a little bit wider than just the youth justice service. We work for a multi-organisation, so we've got sexual health, we've got substance misuse, families. So I think like a wider vision to see it spread across the whole, and obviously have the influence from service users on it all rather than just the youth justice system.
It's very ideal. Well, it's great to see that your experience, what you've done, is now seeing some outcomes.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Well done. In terms of, you've got a convention full of people who work in this industry. What would you give them as advice as to what we need to change? What do we need to do differently?
I think everyone knows the idea of service user and obviously participation and leading it, but many people actually doing it. I mean, I know obviously I'm employed as an ex-service user and I'm actually doing the role like all the other professionals. So it's kind of just for more people to take it upon really and just watch it work.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. You should be very proud of what you've achieved. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.